happened in 2019, and I no longer have any contact with this person. When my husband and I lived in our first apartment together, I didn't have a job. We had just moved to a new city, and I had had some trouble finding anything. Naturally, I was at home because of this. Every day at the same time, I would walk my dog Remy. She's a 7-year-old female dog. We would always walk the same route in front of the leasing office across the street, by the basketball courts and by the tennis courts before walking the rest of the property of the apartment complex. The first encounter I had with this guy gave me tons of red flags, and I reported him to the leasing office because of his behavior. As I was walking Remy back home, the man who looks like he was in his 40s, glasses and gray hair, was walking from the basketball courts to the sidewalk. I stopped with Remy because she was going to try and jump on him if she got close enough. He noticed us, and he then asked,
"Is she aggressive?"
I replied back to him with, "No, she'll just jump. I know some people don't like dogs or dogs jumping on them." He looked me up and down, staring at my chest for a second. Then he asked if he could pet her. I said sure because Remy's tail was going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and she was also whining to meet a new person. He started to talk to me while petting Remy.
"My name's Joe. I just moved across the street. What's your dog's name?"
I was nice to him, enough though I had a weird feeling while talking to him. "This is Remy. I'm Megan. Fake name, by the way. I live next to the groundskeeper with my fiance. You'll like it here. The staff are awesome." The entire time I was talking, he was petting Remy and staring at my chest. Joe thanked me for letting him pet my dog, then turned around to leave. I was weirded out, but I brushed it off, and I just told myself that it was probably nothing. I walked Remy the rest of the way home, but I noticed that Joe had went into the entrance of his apartment building, but he was watching me walk home through the glass. I then hightailed it the rest of the walk to my apartment. It freaked me out enough that I called the leasing office and I told them that Joe was watching me walk home after meeting me and that I was generally uncomfortable with him. I also had them come fix the blinds in our dining room because I didn't want anyone looking inside our apartment. After I loaded myself into the car and drove to my mother-in-law's house, I then just stayed there until my now husband got home. Anytime I walked Remy, and eventually Peach as well, who was my other dog, Joe was always somehow outside when I was. He always tried to come talk to me or pet the dogs. Luckily, whenever I would walk Peach, she would growl at him. She was and still is very protective of me. If I ever walked the dogs with my husband, he would never come talk to me. It was only if I was alone with Remy, or if I was just alone. He would also start walking by the front of our apartment whenever my husband wasn't home. He would try to look through the sliding door to get a glimpse of me. My husband and I decided to move into a bigger apartment because we really needed more space for the dogs as well as ourselves. The day I got the keys for our new apartment just down the street, I had yet another experience with Joe that made me call the cops. I was walking both of the dogs around the block so that I could finish up some last-minute packing. I saw Joe pull into the complex in his car. I stopped to let him go past me, but he had waved me to cross the road. When I did cross, he pulled around really fast with his window already rolled down.
"Hey Megan, I was just wondering, are you really happy with your husband? If not, I can help you out."
He looked me up and down, then gave me a wink. I acted like I didn't even hear him since I had headphones in. I just immediately went inside and locked the door behind me. I then called the leasing office and I told them what happened. I also let them know that I was going to call the cops and at least make a report because his behavior was really freaking me out, and I wanted to at least have it documented. I called the non-emergency line and an officer came out. I told him what happened that day and some of the creepy behavior Joe had before. The cop asked me, "Do you want me to give him a warning to not talk to you?" And I told him yes. I thanked the officer for his time after he took my name and my phone number down, and he then went to the leasing office to talk to the staff about the situation. About an hour after the cop left, he gave me a call. He told me that he talked with the property manager of my apartment, and he also ran Joe's license plate number. He told me his name, and he told me that the leasing office has said that he's had other complaints from other tenants on file as well. He also mentioned that he didn't get the chance to talk to him because Joe was leaving as the cop arrived at the leasing office. I thanked him again for his time, and I finished packing. I decided to go to the leasing office to talk to the property manager just to clear up anything just in case. When I got there, the manager told me that Joe had multiple reports just like the officer told me. She also told me that she was going to have our on-site officer to stop and try and talk to him, and also encourage him not to talk to me or any other female residents. I thanked her, and I went home to start moving little things until my husband got home. I went almost 6 months without another incident with Joe. We moved to the 3rd floor, and he didn't have any idea which apartment was us, so he wouldn't bother us. I also made it a point to have the dogs on a certain schedule, so I would never run into him when we were out. The last time Joe tried to talk to me, I just turned around and I walked away. I didn't let him get a word in. I also noticed him harassing my neighbor outside while she was grilling one day. I told the leasing office about it just in case. Well, a couple of months later, he ended up moving out because they wouldn't let him re-sign his lease. And that's the last I saw of Joe. I always carried a stun gun with me whenever I walked the dogs or by myself because of him. I was fully prepared to shock his ass a couple times if he ever got close enough after I called the cops on him. Thankfully though, that never had to happen. To start this off, I'm a 25-year-old female, and when the story took place I was 18, about to be 19 in a few months.